The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Wednesday, the 24th of February, 2016 are currently trading with gold at $1,238.20 an ounce, silver $15.28 an ounce, Texas crude $31.87 a barrel, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at about 423 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 303, the great persecution of Christians in the Roman Empire signed an edict by Emperor Diocletian, in effect stripping the legal rights of Christians and demanding that they comply with the traditional Roman religious practices of the day. In recent news, the State Stop Criminal Court dismissed criminal charges against Rick Perry for his 2003 threat to veto state funds to the Travis County prosecutors. The charge itself, it was ruled 6-2, violated the Texas Constitution's separation of power provision by limiting the governor's veto authority. Presiding Judge Sharon Keller stated that the governor's power to exercise a veto may not be circumscribed by the legislature, the courts, or the district attorneys. When the only act that is being prosecuted is the veto, then the prosecution itself violates the separation of powers. The court has also dropped a secondary felony charge of coercion of a public official as a violation of free speech right. The International Monetary Fund stated today that the global economy is highly vulnerable to adverse shocks and is calling on the United States and other major governments to prepare contingency plans that could be used to stimulate and boost growth. IMF is strongly suggesting that the world's 20 largest economies should keep pursuing strategies for growth, though they did suggest that they should develop additional measures that could be implemented immediately if economic growth continues to slump. With the IMF suggesting governmental spending as a means of stimulus, it's hard to take the Treasury Secretary Jacob Lewis's statement serious when he stated that it's not the job of the finance ministers and central banks and governors to accelerate a crisis. It's their job to avoid one. Yeah, sure. MasterCard has announced plans to introduce Selfie Pay to more than a dozen countries, a program that is part of MasterCard's plan to implement biometrics as a form of security authentication. The idea is simple. Users will take selfies through their app, and the image will be stored into a company server. Every time anyone will want to make an online purchase with their credit or debit card, they will be prompted to look into the phone's camera so that the image can be digitally matched and compared against the selfie on file, effectively changing the selfie for the traditional password. This was your lowdown for February 24th, 2016.
Good friends, good evening and welcome. It is a Thursday night in February 2016. That would be Thursday, February 25th, 2016. It's time now on the Logos Radio Network for INN World Report Radio. My name is Tom Kiley, and you all have given me the great honor to be able to bring this program to you, INN World Report Radio, here on the Logos Radio Network on Tuesday nights as well as Thursday nights. So thank you very much for that. Welcome to the show. It's going to be an interesting show tonight. I don't really have a guest lined up particular, but we may have some of our friends calling in. I sort of have open invitations. Gilad Atzman in London, he may join us. It's very late there for him, but he'll be back on the show. He was with us last week. I thought it was very interesting, and we sort of did not get a chance to finish our conversation. So he will be back for that, if not tonight, in the near future. And a couple other people may be joining us. But in the meantime, let's just have an open phones show tonight. Open calls, open phones all night. And I'm telling you straight up, right early in the show, we've got almost 2 full hours. We got like, an hour and 55 minutes to go. That's almost 2 hours. So I'm really hoping that some of you will plan on picking up the phone during that time and call in on this number, 512-646-1984, 512-646-1984. The phone lines are going to be open all night. And, unless maybe, if somebody calls in, a guest, we'll maybe put that on hold for a bit, but I'm not planning on that. I'm hoping that y'all will start calling. And listen, friends, this is serious. It's crunch time. We need to talk. We need to talk because there's a sort of a revolution going on in the world, peaceful revolution, let's hope, and it seems anyhow. And people are standing up and starting to say enough is enough, and they're trying to correct this terrible course that I don't know what you want to call it. Western civilization is on, it seems. Certainly Europeans and North Americans, and in the Middle East as well. And people are going to the ballot boxes. The new parties are forming. And, of course, there's a lot of resistance. But it's cutting across a whole bunch of countries, and it's happening right here in our country right now. There's a presidential election, and the powers that be are totally caught off guard, it seems, at least if you look at the reaction of their media puppets that, have been doing their best to keep us off kilter. And they're lost. And I'm monitoring now, MSNBC, Fox, CNN. I'm monitoring those three channels fairly regularly, because there's these debates, there's these town hall meetings. And, we just had the Nevada caucuses the other night while we were on the air. And, Donald Trump is a force. I shouldn't even say it, friends. You are the force. You're the force. And Donald Trump is riding that force. And so is Bernie Sanders. And so is Jeremy Corbyn in England. And so is the brand new Podemos party in Spain. And in Greece, the poor people are trying to struggle and hang on through Syriza. But there's a wave. There's an energy. And it is, I am thrilled to tell you, friends, or to share with you. You probably know this already, but it is transpartisan. Now, if you're a longtime listener to INN World Report, either on the radio or back when we were even on television, on Free Speech TV, you hopefully will know that we here at INN have dedicated ourselves to being transpartisan since day one. Before that, at least first part of that compound had such a crazy meaning to it. But transpartisan, we will reach across the aisle. We'll talk with people no matter where they're coming from politically, if they're making sense on a given issue. All right. And that scares the bejesus out of the powers that be. They do everything they can to keep us fighting each other. We're like their pit bulls. All right. And shame on us, because for a long time we've taken the bait. And it's incredible how close-minded we've allowed ourselves to become on the right and the left. Okay, no question about it. The former left is now so stupid, most of them, where I come from, that I call them the pro-war left. They've just been swallowing this ridiculous notion about we have an obligation to protect people in other parts of the world from their dictators. How would anybody know whether or not there's a dictator over there in Syria or in, the Ukraine, which isn't even a dictator? They had a democratic system there, and we allowed our NGOs to get in there, cause trouble, cause rioting, and then it's the same old story. When you look at the video, you can see what's going on. We put agent provocateurs in there, people who are dressed up like protesters that cause trouble, throw Molotov cocktails, maybe shoot people, and then the authorities react like most authorities would around the world, and they start shooting back, defending themselves. And then CNN is telling us, oh, look, we have to get rid of this regime because they shoot their own people. And they're so used to this nonsense. They're so used to this, telling us these lies that they don't understand that the reality shift that they've created is so great now that people in droves are not believing them anymore. And you know what I mean? If you watch the mainstream media, which I really don't do anymore, but, I have to monitor it. I bring you this program, and especially right now during the election, they don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. You know what their attitude is? And this is not just, this is not just the right or the left. This is both of them. Their attitude is, how dare you people not listen to us and vote for Donald Trump in droves? How dare you people find Bernie Sanders interesting? We didn't tell you to vote for Donald Trump. We didn't tell you Donald Trump was a good guy. How dare you? They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. Donald Trump really racked up a big victory in Nevada, 45%, 43%. He got more than Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz put together, the number one and second and third place guys. Ted Cruz. Now I'm talking to all y'all in Texas. That's your senator. Okay, we got Super Tuesday coming up on Tuesday. I don't know, is it like 10 states? 5, there's going to be a bunch of them, and I think Texas is one of them. And Trump is leading in Florida, where Rubio is from. He's expected to win Florida over their own senator there. That's how disgusted people are. And I think Ted Cruz is ahead in Texas by the polling that they're doing, but not by as much as he should be. Should be a favorite son there. And the Trump machine keeps rolling on. And again, yes, Donald Trump has stepped up to the plate and spread his sails, but the wind filling his sails is the anger of the American people, right and left. And that's all I can talk about. Oh, the angry white people, angry Republicans. That's all they talk about. That's all they can do. They don't talk about how out of touch they are in the media. They don't talk about how they've been selling us garbage all this time. They don't even know. That's how stupid most of these people are. I can only assume. I can't believe that they're all in on it. They just get handed something. They're news readers, and they all, they all have the same phraseology. They know what to say. They look at each other and touch the bases. But they don't give you the kind of analysis we do here in the alternative media, right? Whether you're listening to Alex Jones and InfoWars, or whether you're listening to this program or so many of the other great people that are working out there. Mike Rivero, there's blogs. We have the people here on these shows. There's Scott Creighton with American Everyman. It's really impressive. And it's not just here. It's all over the world. Scottish John. Hey, John, if you're listening, give us a ring, 512-646-1984. John's from Scotland, as you know. You can tell by the way he talks. And there's a great alternative radio group host out there in Scotland, Kev Baker. And he's got a great show. And thanks to John, they've had me on a few times. They love having me on because they get a good perspective. What's going on in the States? Who's this Donald Trump guy? All we're hearing about is how terrible he is. Yeah, well, of course you're going to hear how terrible he is. Because that's all the media can do is tell everybody how terrible they are. And despite that, the guy just racked up, 40, almost half the vote in Nevada, in a 5-6 person field. Crazy, right? Crazy. And then they keep, when some of these people drop out, Trump only has 33% of the vote, and that's a lot of people that are against it. And as the other people drop out, he's going to stay at 30. Well, that theory went right out the window with Nevada on Tuesday night. So he shot up to almost half, to 45 or so. And it just keeps on. Now they're afraid he's going to run the table on Super Tuesday. Every state but maybe Texas. So why don't you all call 512-646-1984? You all in Texas? Come on. How's it look in Texas? Some of these kids in the media, they try. There's this kid, Chris Hayes, on MSNBC, and I don't think he's, totally, excuse me, I'm popping the mic. Sorry about that. I don't think he's totally sold his soul to the devil yet, and maybe he won't, but he's fairly decent. He went to Nevada, to the caucuses in Nevada, to talk to the people voting for Trump. And I could tell he thought he was going to get a bunch of wackadoodles, and he was going to get a bunch of crazy people that he could make fun of. And you know what? He had to admit, all the Trump people I voted that were voting for Trump that I talked to in Nevada, they were decent people. They were nice people. They were decent people. And he had some on camera. There's a woman said, "Yeah, I voted for Obama twice. I'm voting for Trump this time." And then it just about knocked his socks off. It's transpartisan. What do you all think? You got that primary coming up. Give me a call, 512-646-1984. Tom Kiley. Looks like Polly in Wisconsin's on the line. So we're going to get to Polly. And I bet she's going to be telling us about the Reverend Pinckney, the poor guy. That's another indication about how bad things are in this country, when somebody can get railroaded like that. And we had these people on this show, too. Don Siegelman, same thing. Former governor of Alabama, railroaded now in this country. We'll be right back just after this.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Baby ambassador to England or France, may like to gamble, might like to dance, maybe the heavyweight champion of the world, but you got to serve somebody. Hey, you gotta serve somebody. Maybe the devil Medicaid. Maybe a businessman, some high-degree thief. May call your doctor, may call your chief. You got to serve somebody. Oh, serve somebody.
Friends, welcome back. Tom Kiley, INN World Report Radio. Phone lines are open tonight, 512-646-1984. We've got our first caller. It is Polly up in Wisconsin. Now, Polly has called in from time to time because she's been in contact with the good Right Reverend Pinckney, who is in prison, been railroaded, and it's not going well for the Reverend Pinckney. He hasn't been on the show for a long time because they took his phone privileges away. Polly, thanks for calling in. What can you tell us about Reverend Pinckney and how things are going for him?
Well, Reverend Pinckney, as you know, is way up in Marquette, Michigan now in the Upper Peninsula, which is almost to Canada. And the weather is not good. I'm in Wisconsin, and I'm far enough away. It can be cold. It can be, snowy, and then it can be warm. It just changes almost daily. But when you get up that far away, it's about 350 miles north of me. It's icy and snowy most of the time this time of year. He does have one man who a Michigan a visitor contacted while he was in Michigan visiting the Reverend, like back in November, has committed to seeing Reverend Pinckney every week. However, last week he started out, and he lives an hour and a half away from Marquette. He started out, it was so icy he had to turn around and go home. So there is that one good thing is that there is one person that has committed to seeing him as often as he can, hopefully weekly, but the weather is really not right now.
Hence the description of like the Siberia of Michigan up there, right?
It is. It's it's right on the border. It's right on the Great Lakes, and it's just cold and wet and snowy and icy. It's not like anything. Even the blizzards. I mean, I think you've been out there where the blizzards have come through. It's like that much more often and last longer. So it's so much colder up there. And of course, he's still. We know he's in. And I think the whole prison is like this. It's just the conditions are not good. Moldy walls, so they're sick, and of course, he has been sick, and we have no way of monitoring that now because he emails us. There are about 4 of us that he emails as often as he can, which isn't often. We think he's restricted, and he doesn't. He's very cautious about what he says and how he even writes something, and he does use snail mail to his wife. But again, he's very controlled in what he's saying. And even the only person he can actually talk to on the phone is his attorney. And Reverend really has to call Tim, his attorney, because it's really difficult. It's even difficult for the legal counsel, which isn't legal. Legal counsel should have all access to him. But we feel like even the attorney feels like he's being intimidated. The guards are always watching. And even the few visitors that have made up there before the weather really got bad told us that the guards were very close, always nearby. Now, and when he was at Coldwater, at Lakeland in Coldwater, Michigan, when we visited him, you really you weren't it wasn't private because there were several inmates would be having visitors, but it was a big enough room where you could have your own little space at least. And the guards were, there was a guard at the door, there was a guard sitting at a desk, and that's all. You didn't have guards hovering. So I think Marquette is just a prison that's built for intimidation. I mean, early on, he told us that most of the prisoners seem to have, a mental condition, and they're taken advantage of. They're encouraged by the guards and the warden to be gang-like and they promote violence. So he's not safe. He doesn't feel safe. He's expressed that. He has filed grievances, and they just dismiss it. There's a guard named Schwetter that specifically is really targeting the Reverend. For example, he tries to get the Reverend to touch him. So if they're walking down the same corridor, Reverend Pinckney will just put himself against the wall as close as he can to the wall and just walk that way instead of walking down the hall to make sure he doesn't touch a guard, because they will write him up on an assault charge if a prisoner touches a guard. So conditions are really horrible, and the appeal is again just sitting out there on the appellate court docket. ACLU is involved, Lawyers Guild's been involved, but they've taken him so far away and isolated and silenced him. I mean, it's 500 miles. So if anybody from the Benton Harbor area or Detroit area will go to visit him, it takes them 10, 12 hours to drive it. So we're not very confident that he's going to have a lot of visitors. But we hope that once he gets his phone rights back, that then, hopefully he will be able to certainly talk to his wife at least every day and give us some more information, including his attorney, and maybe we can get some help for him. We know that he got some press when one Michigan visitor saw him in November, and that really created, you may have remembered, am I telling you, he was thrown into solitary confinement for 6 days, and it was basically because they were angry over the press that he got. ABC and an NBC affiliate picked it up, and it was run over and over and over. He was charged with trying to smuggle out a note to his wife. They dropped that charge, but they still kept him in confinement for 6 days. So they send us little notices and messages that way by treating him in that way. Now, we have had some plans there have been some rallies and some protests, and we're still writing the Michigan Department of Corrections. We're still calling the Michigan Department of Corrections. We're still calling the legislative ombudsman, Keith Barber, trying to get some action to immediately bring him back to Coldwater. So we really like, because he's pending his appeal right now, which could go on for months. So we also are doing protests in Benton Harbor every couple weeks. Even if it's just a few, they go to the courthouse and have a protest and take their signs. But there have been a couple of big things going on. We had an emergency conference in Detroit in December, which I attended, and that was great because that brought almost 100 of us together, and we could talk about strategy and what's going on. And, of course, then with the Flint water crisis happening all of a sudden I
wanted to ask you about that because
knew for over a year.
Yeah, that too is over an emergency manager and a very sort of capricious way of dealing with people. And I think of Reverend Pinckney whenever I see this emergency manager situation. It's really so bad up there. How have they been able to get away with this murder, literally murder? Kids are going to die from this stuff or get brain damage, no question.
These children will suffer for the rest of their lives. And I've looked up some videos, and I've been circulating them on Twitter. We're very active on Twitter and Facebook for the Reverend. And we have videos. There are videos way back in 2006, 2007. There's a great one from 2011 where Reverend Pinckney is warning everybody about the emergency manager law. And, Benton Harbor was the first city to get an emergency manager. And I think they've had 4. And it's just total corruption because the emergency manager comes into the city and takes over everything. The commissioners, the council, the mayor takes their power away, and the emergency manager makes all the decisions. That's what led to the recall, that Reverend Pinckney was working on of the mayor. And Snyder put, actually the emergency manager law was put into place by Jennifer Granholm, a Democrat governor, and Snyder just took it in and even made it even more dictatorial. He put in an emergency manager in Detroit, of course, and now...
Well, hold on, we're going to go on break. But this guy, Snyder, he's the guy who has to answer about Flint, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, hold on. We'll be right back. Caller Polly in Wisconsin's on the line. You can be next, 512-646-1984.
I only have eyes for you. Soon, store mannequins may be singing that tune. They're being outfitted with cameras to watch us while we shop. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, back with details after this.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This message is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
It's disturbing enough that Big Brother governments use facial recognition technology to identify and track people on the streets. Now clothing companies in Europe, Canada, and America are getting in on the act. So where do they hide the cameras? In the eyes of mannequins. That's right, those glamorous plastic ladies in the display windows may be watching you back. They're called eye seers, and their job is to log the age, gender, and race of passersby, so retailers can devise new schemes to get you to buy. But hang on, aren't mannequins spooky enough already? This is taking weird science to a whole new level. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht for StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine.
Looking for some truth? You found it. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
good friends? Welcome back. Tom Kiley here, INN World Report Radio, Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, right here on the Great Logos Radio Network. We got open phones tonight. I do not have a specific guest lined up, and it's going to be real easy. All you have to do is give us a ring, 512-646-1984. I want to hear from you in Texas. You've got that primary, I think, happening on Tuesday. You've got your favorite son, or, that status anyway. I don't know how favorite he is, Ted Cruz. And the big question is he going to defeat Donald Trump? And we're hearing also from a caller up in Wisconsin, Polly, who knows the Reverend Pinckney and his family, and we're getting an update. As you know, Reverend Pinckney has not been on the show calling in for some time because they took his phone privileges away. So that's what we've been talking about. Polly, why don't you remind everybody where they can go to find out more information, the latest information, and where they could find out about if they wanted to send the Reverend a letter, which I know is really helpful for him to get.
Yes, it is. It gives him support for him, and it's great for his morale building to know that people are still supporting him. His website is BH, so B like boy, H like harbor, so Benton Harbor, bhbanco.org. So it's BHBANCO.org. And everything's there. There's the address where to write to him at the prison. There's also several articles that will always end with the places where we'd like people to call if they're willing to call. Even the governor, Snyder, who is certainly under fire, and we need to keep him under fire because of the horrible thing he's done to the Flint community with the water crisis. And to make those phone calls to MDOC if they wish to. So bhbanco.org is the place to go for the main up-to-date information. And there's also, if I can tell your listeners about a rally that they are planning in Lansing at the Michigan Department of Corrections in Lansing, Michigan on March 4th, coming up next week from noon to 1. So if anybody's in Michigan and is near Lansing, please join them. There will be quite a few people there, always lots of Detroit supporters in Ann Arbor and Lansing and Benton Harbor. People from all over Michigan and others will attend, and they're trying to get the attention of Michigan Department of Corrections. Heidi Washington is the director, and the last time they had a rally in front of the office, they invited her to speak with them, but she declined.
Well,
so that's happening.
Yeah, and I just can't wait till we hear his voice again, Reverend Pinckney's, and it's just shocking to me that in this modern era we still have this kind of Jim Crow kind of treatment for people going on. It's terrible. Right. It's terrible. And I think the Reverend's absolutely right when he says, I'm the canary in the coal mine. It's coming to a town near you. Yes. So
yes.
So okay, bhbanco.org. Polly, I want to thank you very much. Is there anything else you need to update us with this time around?
If you are on Twitter, please go to Twitter because we're storming every Wednesday and Friday night now, and it's been very helpful because there's a petition. If you go to @FreeRevPinckney, FREEREV Reverend Pinckney, you will get all kinds of information. You'll find the petition. Also, the petition is on the BH-Banco. We need only a few signatures, like 40 signatures, to get to 500. So we'd really like to get that petition going. And we have been storming, and it's been helpful because when we storm, if you know what a storm is, as many people as possible just spend a couple hours sending out tweets and with lots of information, different information in them. And people have been replying, and people have been asking questions. And it's been spreading farther and farther and farther. So the word is spreading not only nationally but internationally. We know that because he got tons of cards over the holiday season. So that's another thing. If you can just even send him a card with a little support and get on @FreeRevPinckney on the Twitter and watch that bhbanco.org, then you'll be very helpful. And donate anything if you can. That would be very helpful too.
One more thing, Polly. How's that billboard coming?
I was just going to tell you about that. The billboard, they need $300. They have enough for the billboard, but they need $300 to do. The company charges to do the graphics and the whole design of it.
All right. So what's the whole cost going to be for the billboard and the graphics and everything?
Oh, maybe around $2,600, something like that. I'm ballpark.
And you're down. So you got the 300. The last 300 is the cost of the graphics. That's it. That's included in the 26.
Yes. And that's what they still need. The last time I talked to Dorothy about it, she said, we just need $300
Okay, so I committed to 10%. So 10% of $2,600 is $260. So I'm going to put $260. Who's going to come with me and help us get that last $40 in there? 512-646-1984. Give me a call. I'm committing to $260. And, we just need $40 more to get a billboard up in Michigan so that people can see the Reverend Pinckney and that he can stay in people's hearts and minds, and most especially in those visitors to Benton Harbor when they think they're coming to a real nice town where where folks know their place.
Well, you know why they're really pushing to get the billboard up in the next about 6 weeks to 8 weeks is because the PGA Championship is going to be held in Benton Harbor in the Harbor Shores Resort that Whirlpool built in May. Yep. And so there'll be thousands of people coming into Benton Harbor, and they have to have it up by no later than mid to late April.
Well, I said I was going to put in the last 10%, so you all just need $40 more, okay?
Yes, thank you. All
right, and tell Dorothy that I'm still here. So you don't need 300, you need 40, okay?
Okay, that's great. We can get 40, no problem.
Okay, very good. All right, Polly, we'll be in touch. Thank you very much. Okay,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, good friends. 512-646-1984 is the number. Phone lines are open today. John is in Texas, and I think he's ready. Is this the John? Let's see. We'll know in a second. Hey, John, how you doing?
Hey, Tom. I was out feeding my outdoor kitties when I heard you.
Uh-huh. So. All right. Well, I guess you could refer to them that way, but how many you got there? How many cats you got out there, John?
Down to 15.
15 little friends.
Yeah.
Wow.
They live up in the alley, just I used to live. And I adopted a couple when I lived up there about 2 years before Christmas, just before Christmas of would it be 2014?
Yeah.
Or would it be 2013? It would be 2013, actually. Yeah, just over 2 years.
I didn't know that. You're an animal person.
I never used to be. In fact, cats in particular, Tom, I disliked cats intensely all my life. And, when I got married there a few years ago, me and my missus, we adopted a couple of little kittens who were very, very young. They were like barn kittens, and their mother had died.
Yeah.
So a friend of hers at work had told her about it, and she says to me, and I says, yeah, why not? Well, 5 minutes later, man, they owned me. They were just adorable.
Yeah, I'm a cat. I'm a dog person, cat person. When I was a kid, I worked in a veterinary hospital in 3 years going through high school. So, and my wonderful wife, she does several things, but one of them is she works with the New York City shelter system to try to get as many of these animals placed before they get euthanized as possible. So we're going to talk about that, but we're going to be coming up on a break. What do you think of the whole Trump phenomena, John?
Well, yeah, I wanted to talk just briefly about Trump and Ted Cruz and Rand Paul. Mm-hmm. I sent you a little an email with a couple of video clips in it there about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, this one of Rand Paul. It was only about 47 seconds long. Mm-hmm. Blowing on about Israel and how hard they have it because of Palestine blowing.
Oh, yeah. Well, Trump said something interesting about Israel, but we'll be right back with SJ. You could be next, 512-646-1984.
Easy.
Good friends, that is the late, great Alvin Lee, a great musician from the British Isles. And we got another great musician from the British Isles on the line with us right now. And I'm talking about, of course, Scottish John, as we used to call him, and I'd still like to call him. And he's a musician, and he's a great listener and caller and friend of the show. And you could be next, 512-646-1984. So, SJ, look,
well,
you guys are...
my blessing if you'd start calling me Scottish John again.
I can?
I much prefer that to SJ.
Okay. Well, see, I figured it out. Sometimes when you got a headache, you know what? If you smash your toe with a hammer, you forget about the headache. So I'm back in the saddle again.
I've said that for years, mate. I've said that for years.
All right. So Scottish John it is. Yeah. All righty. And why don't you finish up with what you were saying? Because I got a little bit of news for you about the Donald here that is going to put Netanyahu's knickers in a twist. Go ahead.
Well, as I say, I heard the opposite. I heard him making a remark the other night to the effect that he was going to support Israel against Palestine's aggression. And when I heard that, I've been giving this guy the benefit of the doubt for a while because I've always thought he was a bit of a tosser, a bit of a jackass. But he's been saying some of the right things, so I'm prepared to. Well, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because I think it would be very interesting actually if he got the presidency. But when he came out with that stuff about Israel and Palestine a couple of nights ago, I said, no, that's it, mate. You just
well, I don't know what you mean, because on the 18th of February, which was a week ago today, in Newsweek magazine, Donald Trump headline: Donald Trump will remain neutral on Israel-Palestine conflict if president. How about that? That means the guy's going to get shot, probably. People are already telling me, let's watch out.
How do we know that's genuine, Tom, for starters? And I'm not saying
how do we know? It's in Newsweek magazine, and they cannot. Well, first of all, let me tell you something. I don't know how closely you've been following this Trump candidacy, all right? But
I hear about it every day from Alex Jones. It's all he talks about.
All right. Well, Trump will fire back almost immediately if somebody tells a lie about him or if somebody tries to challenge him on something. Okay, so this would be a big news story if it was not true. And Newsweek magazine is not going to stick their neck out. And so anyway, but I mean, maybe he just said it somewhere. Republicans said Wednesday that he wouldn't remain neutral. This is crazy, right? This is crazy. He's saying, you said he said some of the right things. He's saying, not only is he saying some of the right things, he's saying a lot of the right things, and he's saying things that nobody has ever said before, okay? The weapons of mass destruction was a lie, and Bush knew it was a lie. How many people have you ever heard that say that in the mainstream on television?
Ron Paul springs to mind for starters.
Okay. Ron Paul said that it was a lie that Bush knew was a lie?
Yeah, I remember him saying that.
Okay,
I mean, there was no better advocate for the abolition of the Federal Reserve than than Ron Paul.
Than Donald Paul.
That was just a bit of Freudian slip.
Donald Paul, yeah. Well, yeah, I understand, but Congressman Paul's time has come and gone, obviously, and we have to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Trump is. Have you seen the way this guy has the establishment shaking in their pissing in their pants? Pardon the expression. Have you seen
absolutely.
this?
Absolutely.
They don't know what to do with this guy.
Given what he's running against, I mean, fair play to the guy. If he gets it, I'll be very interested, because if he gets to become president, it's going to be very, very interesting indeed.
Well, you know what's going to happen if he gets to become president. The next day after he's sworn in, the American people are going to have to get on their representatives' butts big time, because the next thing they're going to do is they're going to close ranks. All of a sudden, the Republicans and the Democrats in Congress are all going to fall in love with each other, and they're going to finally start cooperating against whatever Trump wants to do. That's the next step. And he's going to need the bully pulpit. Yeah, he's going to need the American people to stand up for themselves and start defending themselves. Okay, because they cannot stand this guy. They can't believe it. The pundits on the TV don't even know how to talk about him, because this is, they show anger, disdain for the American public that they have the audacity to go out there and vote for this guy. Like, how dare you? We didn't tell you to vote for this guy. Why are you voting for him? And then every excuse they make is getting blown away.
Let me be devil's advocate for a moment. And I've seen this a few times here, and I couldn't draw it up right now, but there's a quote of a conversation he was having. Someone was asking him questions about, you're saying that you're going to make America great again. Tell me how you're going to do that. So Donald starts to talk, but he never actually arrives at the point where he delivers a firm answer on this. And here's one that I've always taken issue with, that he said right from the get-go. He's going to bring the jobs back to America. How the hell is he going to do that?
All right. Are you ready, Devil?
Hey?
Are you ready for, you got some more points? Because you're playing devil's advocate with me, and I'll start talking when we're ready. You got more? Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hit me with your best shot. Okay. How's he going to make America great again? He said the invasion of Iraq was a horrible mistake. We shouldn't do it. He claims he said it before the invasion, and the media is scrambling to find out where they could get him on tape somewhere saying that. Now, maybe he said it at a meeting somewhere. Maybe he said it to friends. Maybe he said it on the phone. And the best they can come up with is pretty damn good. He said it 5 days after the invasion of Iraq, when everybody was going to be put up against the wall and shot. Remember what happened to the Dixie Chicks?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so while that was going on with the Dixie Chicks, he was saying, they got him on tape saying this is a horrible idea. And he's been saying it ever since. And that was 13 years ago. Okay? In March, it'll be 14 years ago. All right? So he says it was horrible. We shouldn't have ever done it. Okay? Libya, horrible. We shouldn't have ever done it. Syria, horrible. We shouldn't have ever done it. I can work with Vladimir Putin. What Putin is doing in Syria is a good thing. Okay? That's what's 4 or 5 points right there. 5 points. Okay? 1, Iraq, horrible. 2, Libya, horrible. 3, Syria, horrible. 4, I can work with Putin. 5, what Putin's doing in Syria is a good thing. Those 5 things alone can make America great. Okay? No more crazy foreign interventions. And there's more. There's more. Okay? There's more.
Tom.
Yeah.
The damage there's already done. You can't undo what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan and
my good friend.
Libya.
My good friend. How many new wars do you think we're going to get into when Hillary Clinton gets in? Huh?
Well, God, there can't be many places left to go that we can screw up.
She'll invent places. Are you kidding me? They're fooling around with the Ukraine. This could be World War III. Okay? Yeah. The Turks and the Ukrainian nut jobs are getting together, and they want to build a Muslim brigade to send into the Crimea. They want to send an ISIS into the Crimea, which is now part of Russia again. Okay? So what I'm saying is that I don't see this guy making all the new wars that Hillary Clinton is just dying to do. All right? Like she engineered the whole Libya operation. All right? So that's going to make America great. He can work with Vladimir Putin. They want to sanction Russia. He says he can work with Russia. All right? Now, even the Pope of Rome and the head of the Russian Orthodox Church, after 1,000 years, those two guys got together this last week. All right, even they're talking. All right, the world's trying to come back together, and you know what he's doing? He says, "I'm a deal maker. He's making a deal with the American people right now. He's negotiating with the American people right now.
Right.
That's what I feel like. All right, now, here's more. How's he going to make America great again? We should put a tariff on Chinese goods coming in here.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, well, he said that. How's he going to make America great? Didn't you hear him say that? That's what they used to do. There was no income tax in the past. Yeah. Well.
Tom, there's 95 million people out of work in this country.
Yeah, you know why?
How's it?
You know why?
Yeah, of course I know.
Because the people who used to make shirts are not working anymore because they're being made in China.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So what a tariff does is, okay, you're not paying your people in China anything.
I understand that. But what is he going to do? Is he going to hold a gun to the head of the companies that moved to China and say, bring your factories back here? No, if he did that, hell, I would applaud him. Absolutely.
Well, first of all, they have a lot of money offshore that he says that he could work with. But he says, yeah, they can make it so that it's a more welcoming environment here again in the States. And if they have to pay either way, okay, if they've got it, you might as well just make it here in the States, because if they put a tariff on it, it's going to cost them the same whether it's made in the States or it's made over here. Okay, they'll save the shipping.
Yeah.
All right, that's what tariffs do. He says he wants to put a tariff on China. He said 35%. Okay, he says he's probably not going to have to do that. It'll probably be lower than that, but, they're going to start making deals again. He said, this is crazy. We've given away the store. And what's happened? The oligarchs have made a ton of money on the deal, and they don't care. American people are out of work, out of jobs. I mean, this is nuts. Do you know how many jobs there are laying around that need to be done? I can show you pictures of the New York City subway system. It is falling apart, okay? That is nothing but jobs. It's jobs. And don't tell me we don't have the money. We got money to make. You know what? One cruise missile could give 10 kids $150,000 each. How many cruise missiles have we got stacked up doing nothing? All right? I mean, pay for kids to go to school, whatever. We got the money. We're just paying to destroy the world with it instead of rebuilding our country. That's what he said. The $4 or $5 trillion that we've wasted in Iraq, we could have rebuilt this country. That's jobs, my friend. That's a lot of jobs, okay? And fixing stuff. And we deserve to have what China. The Chinese come here. They've heard so much about America, and they're embarrassed. It looks like a piece of garbage now compared to what they got. Hold on. We'll be right back. 512-646-1984. You can join the conversation. Welcome back. Now, we've got a live call-in show tonight. I'm hoping that you're going to call. Why is everybody sitting back on their hands? Come on, you guys. You got an election there in Texas next week. And, you got a senator from your own state who wants to be the president. You got an insurgency from outside the political system, an outsider in the form of Donald Trump, who's gaining momentum. Come on. Don't you all have something to say about that? I mean, well, anyway, we're speaking with Scottish John. John, there's a lot of other things I could add to what we were talking about. He wants to tax Wall Street. He said it. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. I've got here Donald Trump addressing a rally at Clemson University in South Carolina. It's about a minute long, and there's subtitles. I won't play the whole thing, but I'll just describe to you what's happening and read the subtitles for part of this.
Before you do, though, tell us, when was this? How long ago was this?
February the 10th at this place. And there's this guy called Dr. Chenjerai Kumanyika, who's an assistant professor at Clemson, was told he was not welcome at the Trump rally at his school.
By who?
And I'm just waiting for this. Well, by Trump's people. His friend, PhD candidate A.D. Carson, recorded the event, and I'm looking at it now with the volume down. And the police are removing these people from the building right now as I'm watching this. It's only a minute long.
Okay.
Kumanyaki went through a security check before entering the rally and listened to Trump quietly and peacefully, he said.
And he was asked to leave at a certain point.
Yeah, but when he got to his seat, he noticed police in military-style gear and Secret Service following him. And they evicted him from the building.
Why? Why did they evict this guy from the building? Did they have a report that he had a bomb on him or something? Why did this guy get evicted from the building?
The police removed him, physically removed him.
No, I know that they did that. I don't know why they did that. How did they pick one person in the audience? What did the guy do anything that resulted in him being removed? Or did they just spin it, they closed their eyes and threw a dart and say, oh, you're the guy, let's take you out of here? Why was this particular person removed?
I don't know. I'm just telling you, I've just watched the video.
All right. Well, that to me tells me nothing. I want to know, why was the person removed? I'm sure the person who was removed has something to say about it, but this happens all the time. People get removed, okay? Yeah. But not only that, but remember George W. Bush, there was a guy who was president. He didn't even let you come in the building. They had free speech zones down the block for you to go to.
I know.
They had people that were followed into rallies of George Bush because of what they saw on the bumper stickers of their cars, and they asked them to leave. Okay? This goes on. Okay? This goes on. But I have no idea. Why did it happen in this case? Does Trump sanction this sort of thing? Does he understand what it is? This is the latest propaganda I'm hearing about Trump. Oh, he's got a bunch of thugs at his rallies, and they're beating people up, and they're throwing people out, and all this stuff. Ronald Reagan famously said, I paid for this microphone. All right? Who's paying for these rallies? All right? I'm sure that these, basketball arenas and stuff that he's filling with people cost a pretty penny. I don't know. Is this a public thing or what? I don't know. But I don't even know about this. I'm hearing this tangentially. People who don't like Trump are telling me, I don't know about it. And now you bring us a video, and I'll say, oh, great, finally I can find out what's going on. And you don't know. A guy got removed. Why? What did he do?
I brought it up because it just so happened that I watched it just a few minutes before your show came on. It's on my Facebook page, and I thought, well, I'll pop it on again. It's only a minute long. So anyway.
It's on your Facebook page? You mean you put this on your Facebook page?
No, it's posted by a group called the Children of Gaza Memorial Page.
Okay.
Now, last night I watched Ted Cruz giving a presentation. I don't know where this was. And again, every second word out of his mouth is Israel, 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 the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. And then finally, people just started shouting at him, and they walked out. In fact, I guess it was maybe one of the organizers came out and took Cruz off the stage. It was just the biggest pile of crap ever. I don't get this damn Israel thing. I'm sick to death of it. Because every day I see videos of abuse and murder by Israeli soldiers in Gaza, and there's never a friggin' word said about it. And these frickin' American politicians on here yakking on about Israel. I'm sick to death of it, Tom.
I think it's horrible. I think it's horrible what's happening to the Palestinians. No question about it. And I think it's horrible what's happening to our political system, that we don't lift a finger, apparently, to stop it. Now, we've talked about this. We've had people on the show like Representative Cynthia McKinney, first African-American woman to represent any congressional district in the state of Georgia. And you heard what she said. Before she was even sworn in, she got a fax that this is the Israel oath pledge, that you're going to, and she didn't sign it. And they started haggling with her about it. Well, why didn't you sign the thing yet? She said, what do you mean? I haven't even been sworn in yet. I don't sign stuff. I read them. I want to understand what it's all about. I'm serious. I'm here to do a job for my constituency. And she never signed it, and they hounded her, and she says that they gave her a really hard time. Eventually they ran somebody against her. Somebody did. and, drove her out. They set her up. They planned political fundraising events for her. And at the last minute, after the invitations went out, they pulled the event. And they said, I'm sorry, you didn't sign the Israel pledge. So that's how this happens. That's how this happened. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Let the chips fall where they may. If I am wrong, if anybody who is involved in any of these political action committees that support the state of Israel, if I'm saying something that's not true, please call in 512-646-1984. Okay. We are interested in talking about the truth on this program. Simple as that. Now, I believe Cynthia McKinney. I have no reason to believe she's lying when she says that this paper goes out to people. There's like a pledge or something that they got to sign. And if they don't, they get threatened, intimidated. And if you listen to Professor Medvinsky, who was on the show on Tuesday night, he says, look, some people are just plain Zionists and they want this one way or another. They don't have to be intimidated. They don't have to be paid. That's what they want. Some people are evangelical Christians who somehow think that by helping the state of Israel come into being, like God needs help, right? God needs help. God's not going to come back. The Messiah is not going to return until there's a state of Israel, and it ain't happening. So let's help God a little bit, and let's go help Israel make a state. Now, first of all, the people that founded Israel and the people that run it are not religious whatsoever, okay? These are secular people who identify as Jews, even though they're not religious, okay? So they're laughing at everybody who believes in God, okay? And if they can play evangelical Christians, so much the better. Okay, so there are people who feel that they don't want to wait for God to make his decision or her decision or whatever it is. They want to help the process along. So these are people, they're sincere in their beliefs. And then there's the rest of them who they're being paid and intimidated and threatened. And that's a significant portion of people in Congress. And that's why you hear, I don't know which it is with Ted Cruz. He thinks maybe he's appealing to the evangelicals when he says that over and over again. Or is it he gets a lot of money to say that? Or does he feel intimidated and threatened if he doesn't say that? I bet it's a combination of the three. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm sure he's getting money. He's a slimy little git. But finally, I just want to say this, and then I've got to go and make my dinner because I'm starving.
What are we having tonight?
I'm going to make some chips, actually, some French fries.
All right, okay. Vinegar and salt or...
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, salt and vinegar.
All right.
In terms of the U.S. and the special relationship with Israel, I don't know what the beer is like in Israel, but why doesn't the U.S. have that kind of special relationship with either Ireland or Scotland or Germany, who make the best beer and whiskey in the world?
Yeah. Well, you know that the special relationship between the U.S. and Israel is so special, it's never been committed to writing. Nobody knows what it is. It's just special. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Try to find the special relationship. What is it? What's the contract? What's the deal?
Well, they own us, don't they?
Well, I mean, there's something going on because it sure looks like the tail wagging the dog to me. I could be wrong. Everybody's welcome to call my show, 512-646-1984. Okay. And I know the difference. I've taken the opportunity to educate myself. I've tried to share this information with my audience. Okay. I know the difference between a Zionist and a person who practices the Jewish religion, okay? And one does not automatically make you the other, all right? And you know something, John? Maybe you heard me say this on the show. The thing that the Zionists and the anti-Semites, and they're both real, there are anti-Semites and there are Zionists, okay? The thing that they supposedly hate each other's guts, but the one thing that they agree on 100% is they want you to believe that there is no difference between Zionists and religious Jews. Okay, how about that? Isn't that crazy? The anti-Semites say, no, kill them all, even the religious Jews. And the Zionists say, no. If you criticize Zionism, you're criticizing the religious Jews too. Did you know that?
Well, I worked in the textile industry for 20 years, Tom, and I worked for a few Jews in my time, and I never had a problem with them. I had the utmost respect for some of the people I worked with. But let me just tell you this week.
Well, here in New York, I worked in the jewelry business for years, and every company was owned by a Jewish family that I worked for, and there were all kinds, religious, non-religious, from Israel, not from Israel, and they're like everybody else. Some people were really good, some people were okay, and some people were,
My favourite newscaster back in London was a Jewish guy. He used to come on and do the 6 o'clock news every night. He says, hello, my good people, it's the 6 o'clock news. But to you, my dear, 5:55.
How about that? Well, anyways, you got a few more seconds for the break if you want to get one more shot in there. Otherwise, enjoy making dinner. Sounds good.
Did you hear about Boris Johnson and David Cameron falling out about the EU vote? Johnson's going to be a no voter. You hear that? Well, it's caused the pound to drop, and it's going to cost me $100 a month.
Oh.
with my retirement pension coming in for Britain.
Well, if they pull out of the EU, it'll probably go back up, huh?
I don't know, but I'm just a wee bit ticked off about that.
I don't blame you. All right, we're going to take a break. Maybe John will be with us. Maybe you're going to be with us. 512-646-1984. Bring it on. Bring it on.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
What's going on in Texas? Come on, you got an election, a primary election. Ted Cruz going to win? Donald Trump? I can't see how Marco Rubio has a shot. John Kasich? I don't think so. Jeb Bush? He's out of it. I think he was out of it from the beginning, thanks to Donald Trump. I think if Donald Trump was not in the race, Jeb Bush would be the number one Republican frontrunner right now. But Donald Trump knocked him out of the box. Now all you got to do is knock Hillary Clinton out of the box, too. And it'll be interesting. Can you imagine Bernie Sanders against Donald Trump in the general election? Now, wouldn't that be something? And the powers that be don't know what to say. They are literally wetting their underwear over all this. They don't know what to say. Now, you have the, so far it's been four caucuses or primaries, right? Starting with Iowa, then New Hampshire, then South Carolina, and then just, I think on Tuesday night it was Nevada. Trump came pretty close in the Iowa caucuses, and it looks like Ted Cruz was cheating. Ted Cruz told people that Ben Carson had dropped out of the race. Give me his vote. If you were going to vote for him, give it to me. Now, in a close election, if people believe that and gave that vote to Ted Cruz, then he got more votes than he should have, right? Well, if Ben Carson if the Ben Carson people hadn't been told that, Ben Carson would have got more. It might have been a tie. But in any case, Donald Trump came in a fairly close second in Iowa. But after that, he won New Hampshire by 30-something%, I think, taking 30-something%. He won South Carolina. Did you look at the map in South Carolina? He won, I think, every single county in South Carolina but maybe 3. And that showed everyone, and the pundits didn't know what to say. They didn't know what to say, okay, because along the coast, that's a lot of former military. Well, he won with those people. All right, up in the mountains, up in the in the northeast part of the state, that's evangelicals. Well, he won with them too. And then in the middle, you kind of got the moderates, and he did not take the central county where I think the capital is. There's a lot of politicians there, though. Okay, and that was with the governor of South Carolina, Nikki Haley. Okay, endorsing what? Cruz? Who did she endorse? Cruz or Rubio? I think. One of the two. Jeb Bush put in such a dismal showing that he dropped out that night, okay? And his people spent, I don't know, $80 million so far trying to tell you to vote for him. All right? And then we had the Nevada. So Trump's won 3 of the 4 contests so far and came in close on the only one that he didn't win. And he keeps picking up momentum, gaining steam, and they don't know how to handle it. And it is people on the left, okay? Webster Tarpley. Can't stand Donald Trump, all right? And people on the far right. Bill Kristol from the Weekly Standard. You've probably seen this guy on there. He's a talking head on TV, right? Oh, the Weekly Standard went nuts. They went nuts. Donald Trump called George Bush a liar, said the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq was a lie that they knew about. It was a lie, and they had to know about it because I knew about it. All I did was ask Scott Ritter, the UNSCOM inspector who cleaned all those weapons out. I then asked this man to come on our show, and he did before the invasion. He said, there ain't no weapons there, friends. Now, if INN knew that, you damn shooting the Bush White House knew that. So, yeah, it's a lie. No question about it. Either that or they are so stupid, you cannot believe how stupid they are. It's just too much. Yes, they put on the big We're Stupid act. Oops, sorry about that. We're stupid. On 9/11, we didn't know what we was doing. We're stupid. 9/11, we let our guard down. And then Condoleezza Rice insults you. Every person on earth, she insults you. Who could have ever imagined that they would use airliners as flying bombs? Who could have imagined? How about the Pentagon imagined it? Because on 9/11 itself, Condoleezza, they were doing exercises, drills, multiple drills involving, guess what? jet airliners being used as flying bombs on the day itself, Condi. So, yeah, it looks like y'all are lying because I don't think you can find people that stupid for those kind of jobs. And this is what Trump is saying. This is what Trump is saying. We got incompetent people. That is putting it kindly. That's putting it kindly. We got Bill on the line in Texas. You can be next, 512-646-1984. And here's another zinger that they were crying in their beer about, the pundits, on Tuesday night. Guess what? Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump hates immigrants. Lottie freaking da, right? Okay? I'm going into my Brooklyn bag on you, all right? Okay. Well, guess what? Donald Trump got the vast majority of the Hispanic vote in Nevada. Over 2 Hispanics, over 2 guys with Cuban heritage, Cuban-American heritage. They went more for Donald Trump. How about that? Now, of course, it's a relatively small sample in Nevada, but still, okay? You know what? Just because you say you're against illegal immigration doesn't mean you're a racist. And guess who knows that better than anybody else? Recent immigrants know that. Legal immigrants, people who waited online, people who respect the law, people who took their turn. They understand that. All right, we got Bill, and I'll go on. I'll go on, and I will go on. But let's go to Bill. But you can be next, 512-646-1984. Hey, Bill, how you doing? I see you're from Texas.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Trump is fantastic. He's like maybe John Kennedy or Ronald Reagan, that kind of candidate who can have the ability to change things a lot. And I just hope he can stay alive long enough to win.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, you are the Bill of Texas. You're the number one Bill that calls in the show in Texas, and I really do appreciate your calls. It's been a while since we've heard from you because you're very insightful, very thoughtful, and I enjoy talking with you and learning from you sometimes with what you share with us. But I think you're right. I have been looking at this guy. He certainly has Kennedy potential, maybe Ronald Reagan type potential. All right. He certainly doesn't have their style. He's brash. He's thin-skinned. But you know what? He's mad. The people are mad, and he's mad. And I got to tell you, I'm mad too. And I don't have patience anymore for these craven politicians and the craven news media that helps surround them with a wall that protects them from real hard questions.
I think it's because he's financially independent and he doesn't have to please his backers. He can say what he wants to. And I like what he says.
You know what else, Bill? He's got to be a shrewd businessman. I mean, he's built obviously a very large empire worth a lot of money. You don't do that if you don't know what you're doing. He started off with $1 million from his father back in 1971, I think, which was a lot of money back in those days. But you have to give the guy credit. That means that he knows how to find the right people. You don't know. You don't have to be an expert on everything when you run a company, but you have to be so smart that you can find the experts and get them to work for you. And you have to be able to put experts in a room and let them talk it out and in a way that you can tell who's BSing you and who's not. And I think he clearly knows how to do that.
Yeah, he has a lot of courage. And but I really am concerned that he'd be such a change agent that a lot of people are going to want him to die, basically. And I don't think they can beat him.
Well, I hope not. But we need to talk about this on this program. And all the alternative media, people have to talk about it. Because if you listen to the mainstream media, they're doing everything they can. Did you see Mitt Romney just came out the other day to trash Donald Trump? Mitt Romney, the former nominee of the Republican Party to run for president, came out and trashed Donald Trump, the lead candidate at the moment in the primaries, the Republican Party. What the hell is he doing? He said, he better put his tax returns out right away. I had to do it. And Mitt Romney says, I think he's hiding something in his tax returns. It's not your place, Mitt Romney. Anyway, hold on if you will, Bill. And you can join us too, 512-646-1984. This is the quick break. We're going to be taking it, and we'll be right back just after this.
Candy, soda, and cupcakes may please your taste buds, but did you know that binging on sugar can slow down your brain? I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll share new research showing how sweets may dumb you down next.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy it's worth hanging on to. This message is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Attention sugar junkies, if snarfling sweets and guzzling soda is your thing, I've got some not-so-sweet news for you. A new study shows a diet high in fructose could make you dumber in just a few short weeks. UCLA researchers gave lab rats fructose in their drinking water while training them how to navigate a maze. After 6 weeks of sucking sugar, the dazed animals began to struggle. In fact, their overall brain function diminished noticeably. Still want that fudge sundae? Then eat plenty of foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Rats who ate omega-3s zipped through that maze much faster than those that didn't. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht for StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine.
Actually be kidding about chemtrails.
You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at logosradionetwork.com.
All right, good friends, welcome back. We're having a nice chat with all y'all. This is a caller night here on INN World Report Radio. We've got Bill on the line. You can be next, 512-646-1984. I'm talking about Donald Trump. You all have a big election coming up in Texas next week. My election isn't going to be for a while yet, but, you've got the primary coming up in Super Tuesday, I think, next week. So what do you think? Call in. I'd love to hear from our Texas listeners about it. So, Bill, there you are. Yeah, I agree with you that I think this is real. I was talking with Deborah on the break. To steal an election, it has to be close enough to steal. And this is what is upsetting the powers that be, because Donald Trump is exciting so many people. He's got people crossing over. He's got Democrats voting for him. He's got new people coming in and registering. I think they almost doubled the turnout in Nevada on Tuesday night than it was in only a few years ago in 2012. That's too many people to steal this thing, and people are going to know. So I think they're a bit flummoxed about this, and he's not a conservative, straight up and down. He is on some issues. He doesn't want to get rid of Social Security. This is supposed to be the bread and butter stuff of the Republican Party. People don't care anymore. Okay, they don't care. No, let's just get something going. Let's get this ship turned around. What do you think about that?
I think maybe the greatest danger to his candidacy is a brokered convention, and hopefully after the Super Tuesday, he'll have such dominance that the other candidates will have trouble getting funding, and that he can build up enough delegates to win on the first ballot. But I could easily see them doing a brokered convention, which means he'll have a third party, and that will elect Hillary Clinton.
Well, I don't know, because it certainly will prevent the Republican from winning. But even the pundits at this point are saying there will be a revolution in this country if he gets enough delegates, or if he's cheated and there's a brokered convention, that there'll be a revolution. That's what they're saying. And I happen to agree that people have had it, okay? And guess what? If it's not this cycle, it'll be next cycle. And if it's not next cycle, it'll be the one after that. But I don't see it going any further than that. The people around the world have had it. And if we don't have a viable, democratically based representative system anymore, then let's have it out, and let's find out, and let's get right to the bottom of it, damn it. Let's stop this charade from going any further. It either works or it doesn't. Either way, I'm okay, you're okay. What's not good is that we don't know whether it's working or not anymore. And if they stop this guy and it's legit, that's one thing. But if they try to stop him and it's not, then the cat's out of the bag. The iron fist has come out of the velvet glove, and you have to be an idiot to believe that we have any say anymore in this country. And the sooner, if that's really the case, the sooner we get to that point, the better. Right? Because you can't.
Yeah, it's going to be.
You can't heal yourself until you properly diagnose the problem. How's that sound?
Yeah, you're right. If they steal it from him, that's going to cause a very strong reaction.
And they know that already. They know that.
And it will reveal the nature of the power structure.
That's right. And either way, I think it's good. It's healthy. Okay. If he gets through, and you know what? Because guess what? The reason he has so much support is because people are sick and tired of having politicians promise them They're not even being promised a moon anymore. They're just being promised regular, normal, healthy, we need a healthy society stuff, and they can't even produce on that anymore, okay? And people are sick and tired. This guy's got an ego as big as North America, and he is staking it on getting this country turned around. He makes no bones about it, all right? And the reason there's this anger is that people haven't followed through. There is not the accountability. And he keeps talking to that, all right? So if he's going to play that game and he's going to come in and promise everything and not produce, then they're just going to get even more angry and they'll find somebody else and they'll keep pushing until there's a breakthrough or until martial law is declared, which I don't think they're quite ready for yet, you know?
Yeah, you're right. I think it's no matter what happens, he's had a positive impact and getting people involved and showing what's possible. And hopefully he'll go on to win and make some serious changes.
You know, Bill, I'm a New Yorker. Donald Trump is a New Yorker. I'm used to this kind of stuff. But you all out there in the West and the South and so forth have a more genteel way of carrying yourselves. Frankly, I don't mind that he seems so brash because he's angry and I'm angry and we have a right to be angry. And so I don't care. I don't care that he seems to be, impolitic or impolite. You know what? What's happening to this country, to people in Texas, to people in New York, to people in Washington, the state of Washington, to people in Hawaii, to the entire place. That is impolitic. That is rude. That is nasty. And we have a right to be upset about that. So and it doesn't bother me that he's upset and he's thrown his weight around. Good. Apparently that's what we need.
You know, Haley accused him of being angry, and he said, I am angry, and I proudly wear the badge of anger. And that represents the attitude of most Americans today, I think.
Well, to be angry when you shouldn't is bad, but to not be angry when you should is bad too, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I think we got another caller now. All right, Bill, it's been a long time, man. Don't wait so long. I really appreciate your opinions.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Bye.
Thanks. Call back soon. Thank you very much. All right, good friends. Joe now in Texas. You can be next, 512-646-1984. Joe, are you there?
Yeah, Tom, I'm here. I'm glad the Hispanic vote was voted for Trump in Nevada.
I am too.
Hispanic vote. And,
I am too.
It was surprising to me because I live in Austin, Texas, and this town is nothing but Agenda 21, and they have violated the minority rights, our privileges, and everything. But the reason I like Trump, because he's in marketing. Marketing is very important for people to make money, and I've been in marketing. What I'm crossing the point, crossing Hispanic here in this area is that you want to make money, you got to listen to Donald Trump. Other than that, you listen to these politicians, they're liars, they're cheaters, they're taking your property rights, and you're still in a two-party system trying to fight it over.
And you know what, Joe? Donald Trump's even been involved in eminent domain, okay? And they tried to attack him on that. Jeb Bush, he likes eminent domain. And he says, hey, Jeb, you like your Keystone Pipeline? How the hell are you going to build it if you don't have eminent domain? Boy, that really shut him up, didn't it?
It brings money to the people. It brings jobs.
That's right.
That's the issue. And so it's very important that I acknowledge that sales is the most important thing about marketing a nation in the world. When you start giving out and you're not bringing nothing back, then there's a problem. So they're accusing everything else. They've done it the same way, believe me. So anyway, I'm excited. I'll be voting for Donald Trump. Forget the two parties.
You know what? It makes no difference to me. I have never voted for a Republican for president in my life, okay? I am 62 years old. If the election were held today, I would vote for a Republican for the first time because I'm not voting for the party. I'm voting for somebody who's stepping up to the plate.
And yes, and so I ask people here, you've been voting Democrat all your life. What have they done for you? Look, they have gentrified our neighborhood. They have raised our taxes, and our neighborhood is taken control over by the government, by the city of Austin's government.
Well, look, sometimes there's a big difference between the parties, and sometimes there isn't. Franklin Roosevelt was a Democrat, and we got this country created a middle class, which didn't have everybody in it. But you know what? More and more people were getting into it. It became the inspiration for the whole world. And now the two parties are the same. And what's happening? They're shutting the middle class down. So, sometimes the two parties have a difference and sometimes they don't. Right now they don't. And Donald Trump is not really of either one of them. And that's why I think it's so exciting. He does have a lot of money. He doesn't need their money and he can run on his own.
Well, he made the money by himself. So he's trying to teach the American people, hey, you need to start making some money.
And that's what he says he wants to do. Joe, you're welcome to hang on if you like. We got to take a break. Otherwise, we'll see if Joe's there on the other side. You can be next, 512-646-1984.
Increase in mental functioning.
All right, good friends. Welcome back. Tom Kiley, INN War Report Radio. Thank you so much for stepping up to the plate tonight and picking up that phone. I know it took a while, but now we're going for it. And I don't know, maybe we'll do another show like this again on Tuesday night. I've got some great guests lined up for you. Stephen Kinzer is going to return. We have not had Stephen Kinzer on for a while. He just put a great op-ed piece in the Boston Globe. The media has been lying to you about Syria. I want to have him on to talk about that. I think it will be the 10th of March. Mark it on your calendar that he'll be on. That, I think, is a Thursday night. Yes, Thursday, March 10th, Stephen Kinzer's scheduled to come on. And like that, let's see. Oh, we had a caller from Las Vegas. Please call back. I'd love to hear from all y'all in Las Vegas. But, hey, in the meantime, Super Tuesday's coming. Texas, you're voting. What do you think? Do you see it? I see it. The mainstream can't handle the truth. They can't handle the truth. They don't even know what it is. They're so far away from it anymore. Okay? They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They're angry with you because you're voting for Donald Trump. And you're not supposed to because they didn't tell you to vote for Donald Trump. And these political dynasties and all the money that's been invested in the Clintons and the Bushes and this guy and that guy ain't paying off no more. Bush's campaign, his PACs, his political action, they had more than $100 million, and I think they spent 80-some or so. All right? That's what I'm hearing. I see Richard's on the line. Deb, if Richard's on the line, please get him up first because I know he's usually working really hard. And I got a couple of callers that we're going to get through to. And guys, don't wait to the end of the show next time. Come on. All right. I'm sorry. Maybe because what happens when I get going. That's when the calls come in. But I'm going because you're calling. All right. So you want to hear me going? Call in earlier next time. We'll get this show on the road a little earlier. Okay. So I'm waiting for two calls to be screened. Richard's in Texas. Jessica is in Texas. And what are y'all going to do? And thank you, Jessica, for calling too as you're being screened because we don't hear from the women as much and we need to more. All right. And Donald Trump, is he anti-immigrant? I don't know. I don't think so. He's talking about illegal immigration. That's what he's talking about. And he's also talking about temporarily putting a pause on Islamic immigration from certain countries. I wish that we had no problems, and that wasn't the case, but I cannot necessarily fault him for saying that because the government clearly doesn't have his act together. Maybe they don't want to have their act together. Maybe it's all a plan. Who knows, okay? But it's clear they don't. They're not acting as if they do. All right? Women, Donald Trump's supposed to be against women. He's on stage with his daughter, Ivanka, who is pregnant, and she's there with him, and he's rubbing his grandson or granddaughter through the belly of his daughter on stage. That's not an act. That's not an act. Donald Trump does not smoke. He doesn't drink. He doesn't take drugs. And he's instilled that in his kids. And his kids are not like so many other, how about Ozzy Osbourne and their kids? What are they doing? Okay, that's another family got a lot of money. Okay, you don't see that with them. What are they doing? They are managing, they're participating in a multi-billion-dollar family company. That's what his kids are doing. And in this day and age, you don't have kids that are like that if you didn't do something right. Okay? So family values, women, his daughter is in charge of her own company, running this big empire of theirs, okay? And guess what? Hillary Clinton, she's for women. Oh, really? Go talk to the women of Libya, okay? Muammar Gaddafi's daughter, Aisha, okay? Aisha Gaddafi, beautiful woman. She was going to be his heir apparent. She's making a comeback. She's saying, we want to take this country back. Thank you, Hillary Clinton. You threw her to the wolves. Anyway, okay. Do we got some callers here? Okay, Richard's ready to go. Let's go to Richard, hardest working listener of INN World Report. Richard, are you there, brother? Okay, let me try this again. Richard, are you there, brother?
Yeah, how's it going? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Sorry about that. That was my bad.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, I just wanted to say, starting with the Jewish issue, I listen to a lot of talk shows, and there's always a lot of Jew bashing going on, but I always come back to one point. If everybody's taking orders from according to Rothschild, the representative of Rothschild who spoke on Alex Jones' show, he said it's only about 6,000 prominent Jews that are running the whole show. So if everybody's taking orders from these 6,000 people, then who are we to blame? That's why lately I've just been blaming us, the victims, because we're willing victims. And I'm not moving from that position because I'm watching military commit suicide after they follow orders. I'm watching 501c3 preachers allow Reverend Ed Pinckney to be
right.
following orders. I I can keep going. Everybody's just shutting up and following orders.
Well, Richard, I appreciate your opinion. I know that you monitor an awful lot of the alternative media. You tell me, you started off what you just said, but you hear a lot of Jew bashing going on. I don't think I'm a Jew basher. I try to go into the issue heart and soul, and really separate the garbage from the truth on it. What do you think about this show, how we handle that issue?
That's what I was going to say. See, I only got a few seconds to say it, so I got to say it quick. But I didn't mean you. You made it clear. You separate the labor Zionist Jews from the everyday Jew. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about other shows I listen to. It's like it's an all-out festival of either Alex Jones bashing or Jew bashing. And all I got to say is Reverend Ed Pinckney is up here freezing to death because the black boule who are listening to the Jews, who they claimed is their enemy, won't go to this man's aid. And he was an NAACP man. I mean, so who do we blame? I say point the finger back at us. That's all I'm saying. I know you understand what the big picture is. I worked in Beverly Hills as a lowly bike messenger. Every office I walked into was run by some Jews, but they weren't rude to me. The only people that were rude to me was the black secretaries, the Hispanic secretaries, and the low-level white secretaries who moved to Beverly Hills to become stars, but ended up being secretaries, and some of them crackheads and prostitutes. So all I'm saying is, Tom, we got to start owning what we are a victim of. That's all I'm saying. Is, like I said, this guy, Reverend Ed Pinckney, I haven't heard anything from any black leaders about this prominent black leader out of Detroit, who was the first person that I heard talk about this water problem in Detroit. But, yeah, he's a forgotten man by the same black people.
Where's Cornel West? Where's Dr. Cornel West? Come on, Cornel. I want to hear you talk about the good Reverend Pinckney, Cornel. Let's go. Come on my show. We can do it together on my show. I'll hold your hand. If you don't know who he is, I'll tell you all about it.
See, we're on the same page. So I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the everyday.
Well, I want to make that distinction because I work very hard to bring you all as truthful information as I can find, and particularly on that issue because there are so many booby traps all over on that issue. There are pitfalls that are waiting for you so that you can be diminished. I had a great event here in New York City last May. Rabbi Yaakov Shapiro, Gilad Atzmon, they talked about the difference between Zionism and Judaism, and the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, was there in the house, and they did a report on my event in New York City. And you know what, Richard? In their newspaper, you know what they said? They said it was anti-Zionist, it was anti-Israel. They could not say it was anti-Semitic because it wasn't. The ADL could not call our event anti-Semitic. They called Gilad anti-Semitic. Well, that's their business. That's his business. But not the event that we did because we only are interested in the truth.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you at first. Yeah, I guess that was a good report then. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it was accurate. I agree with it. I say, hey, I want to call them, hey, ADL, you did a good job. Because, no, we weren't anti-Semitic. But anyway, brother, can I get to Jessica now? There's another caller.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. It's usually the rank and file who's usually undermining his own cause, not the so-called the upper crust. So
it's the collaborators. It's the Quizlings. That's who do it. All right.
All right. Thanks, John.
Call that back in soon. Thank you. All right. Let's go to Jessica now in Texas. Hi, Jessica. I'm sorry you had to hold on for a while. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Tom. Thanks so much for taking my call. I know we're running out of time. I have two issues with Trump.
Sure.
Number one, he made his money by declaring bankruptcy 4 times. Okay?
Right.
All right. Number two, he wants to build a wall. Walls can keep people in like prisoners just as easily as they can keep people out. Those are my issues. He's on PC. It's refreshing. I like what he's saying. But, I don't think he's got, he's a smart man, but he just, kind of misses the ball on some of these things.
Well, let me address my idea. Of course, what you raise, I've had to go work through that too. I've had to noodle through that too. Okay. I don't know the particulars about Donald Trump and why and how he declared bankruptcy. I don't know the particulars. However, by doing so, he has survived and presumably built a strong business. It is a tool that is available to you. And let me tell you something. You know what's cold? You know what's colder than the North Pole? When you have tremendous assets. Okay, I know people who are net worth in the millions of dollars, and they can't get a loan from a bank right now.
Nobody can.
Nobody can. Nobody can.
They screwed everybody over.
That's right. So I don't know Donald Trump's particulars when he declared bankruptcy. Maybe that's all he could do at the time to save his business. I don't know.
I don't know. 4 times, to me, that's kind of like bilking the system.
You know what? Guess what? The system is having no trouble bilking you and me for a long time now. So if somebody wants to bilk them back, hey, you know, and it's one thing to declare bankruptcy, I guess, against investors, whatnot. It sure is another thing if you're declaring bankruptcy against Federal Reserve made from thin air money, too, I would say.
Well, you know, what are we going to do with this trillions and trillions of dollars that we owe? I mean, are we just going to declare bankruptcy if Trump is our president because that's what he does?
Who do we owe it to, and is it real money, or is it Federal Reserve created from nothing money? The Federal Reserve creates money from nothing, gives it to the banks, and says, hey, banks, use this to buy government bonds, and you can make interest on it.
I understand that, but we still owe some of that. I mean, some of that is real debt.
If it's your savings that's involved, you're right. But if it came from the banks, it's air money. And even if it is air money, Jessica, okay, but to charge us interest on something they made out of thin air? Cut the interest. Get rid of the interest. We'll clean up the debt real fast.
And if he audits the Fed, man, he is my total hero. I totally want him.
Call back Tuesday. We're out of time. I want to continue this. All right, Jessica, that's it for tonight. We'll be back on Tuesday night, folks.